What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. As always, I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
Motivation Monday. Time to get fired up. If you're new here, we really like to just have this episode to answer your questions. It was originally Mailbox Monday, where we would answer some unique questions regarding fitness, training, health, happiness, but we thought we got to take it a step further. We got to be motivational. If you're listening to this right when it comes out on Monday, we hope you're getting fired up. You got a week in front of you, and we want to also say that we congratulate you for making sure to tune into this, because you're going to learn a lot in this episode. You're going to get a lot of great energy in this episode, a lot of great thoughts, and anything that motivates you to do more is going to be something you want to take advantage of. As we've mentioned before, hacking motivation is so key, and having different sources like this goes such a long way. So special shout out to you for tuning into this podcast. Now sit back, relax, and let's kick it off with Kyle's quote.
So my quote this week is, "You're not supposed to feel like working out every day. In fact, it would be weird if you did. But we do things every day we don't necessarily feel like doing. Just suck it up and get it done. Future you will thank present you." And it's just a good reminder. It kind of ties into one of the questions later on, so stay tuned for our full answer there. But it is a good reminder that there's so many things that we don't want to do. And even just working out, no matter what, even if you're super motivated, even if you're personal trainer, if it's your job, if you're getting ready for a competition, whatever it is, there's always going to be those feelings where you just don't want to do it. And just think of how much better you're going to be if you just start to do things that you don't exactly want to do. I love working out. I love movement. I love exercise. But there are so many times where I'm just like, I got to do it. And it always feels so much better after. So just a friendly reminder. I just wanted to share this with you as my little quote/thought, and hopefully it helped you in some way or another.
Now, we mentioned before how it's not often fun to do these things, but the more you do them, the more it becomes habit, the more it's a discipline, and the more you can get in there and get it done. The days where I'm really excited to go to the gym are just amazing days. I lean into them. It goes a long way. But oftentimes you can be like, I don't want to do it, but you'll never regret a workout. That's something we also always say. So usually when it's something you feel like doing, it's usually people are referencing the gym. So if you can challenge yourself to get in there, even when it's hard, to get it done and do it consistently, it goes a long way. And you'll find too, a lot of times when you just get in there, you get warmed up, you get going, it makes it so much easier and it makes it very enjoyable. So I think that was a killer quote. We're going to jump into my quote, which is nice and simple, that it is never too late to be what you might have been. So we mentioned before the example of, it's if you go to a funeral, it's not as sad because a lot of people passed away there. It's more sad because there's a lot of lives where people weren't living how they wanted to live or to their potential or what they could be or what they could do. And I know pretty much every person ever, I think, has a feeling in them that they could do more and they want to do more. And what's amazing when you get that feeling and you harness it and you lean into it and you put in that work and you achieve it, how rewarding it feels, because you're living a symbiotic life. You're living in line with what you want to do. And when we're in that, there's a focus. It feels like things are smooth and you're moving in a good direction. Whereas when you're living out of sync of that, if you're someone who loves fitness, you love feeling healthy, you enjoy the benefits of it, it's really hard going the other way, seeing the weight creep up, not getting to the gym, not being healthy, not being strong. You constantly are in this push and pull of what you want to do and what you're not doing, and it can be really hard. But the truth is, it's never too late. And I mentioned this before, no matter where you are in life, even if it seems like everything's stacked against you, you need to learn how to make this fit within your life, and you need to prioritize it. And I know Kyle is going to add on to this a little bit, but you always have that potential. And a lot of times you have to break that glass ceiling. And what that glass ceiling is your comfort level. So many people, and I often find I have to break through this with clients. They'll come in, they'll lose weight, and they'll say, I've been to here before, but I've never gotten to that next level. I've never lost 20 pounds. I've only lost 10. I've never really got my strength up. I fall off after 2 months. These are the conceptions you need to break, and you need to let yourself evolve into a new person. And the best way to do that is by putting in the work. And we tried to really create a little micro example of this for our clients. We did a 60-day shred challenge that has now ended, which has been fantastic. And it was a great opportunity where for 60 days, we had to do 10,000 steps every single day. We had to hit our calories and our protein. We had to do all of our workouts. We need to finish a book within those 60 days, and we need to do no alcohol. So you might hear that, and some of those you might be like, this is easy. I do this every day. Some of them you might be like, whoa, I could never do no alcohol for 2 months. But that's where, like, doing this for 60 days, you realize what you're made of and what your new normal is. And now it's just, after 60 days, it's such a habit. It's been so easy to consistently do. And what's awesome is now from here, instead of reverting, it's a great opportunity to say, how can I level up? How can I take this a step further? How can I be that much more just in tune with what I want to do and take that to the next push? And just the same, you can say, I really enjoyed that break and I find I don't have a problem with alcohol, so I'll go back and have a few drinks there. But the 10,000 steps has been so good for me because I used to do 3,000, so I'm going to keep that. So just know it takes time and work, but the more you do that, the better you'll be. And it's just about breaking past what you think is possible, letting yourself advance to that next level. And that's what I love about coaching. I take people who have these preconceived notions. I guess if you think about it, it's their can'ts. I can't do this. I've never done that. And showing them that they indeed can, and you're capable of so much more than you think. So once again, my quote again is, it is never too late to be what you might have been.
Honestly, just living up to your full potential. And just like Josh said, I've got some thoughts here and it's bringing me right into them now. And one of the best questions you can ask yourself, I've got it written down here, is what's holding me back? And what have I done about it? And going off into, once again, the thoughts and everything like that, we have a good friend who is struggling with some knee pain. And I'm sure you guys heard me a few weeks ago talk about how I was starting to experience it. And I said, good, because I can learn a lot. I can start to implement things. I can make changes. And when you look at it from a positive viewpoint, it ends up setting you up for success for the long run. But long story short is, just playing volleyball, even just sitting down, he's starting to experience some issues, and obviously quite young, 28 years old. And when you ask, what have you done about this? Like, what change have you made and what are you going to do? There's nothing, right? And I know a lot of people, especially from having so many conversations with people randomly in the gym, some friends, some family, and all that other stuff. Like, there's so many people who may be struggling with something, whether it's weight loss, whether it's your sleep routine, whether it's alcohol, a lot of people as well, just like your injuries. And it's just, you haven't done anything about it. You haven't sat down and thought for a second, what am I going to do? And when you think about why it is that you haven't taken that action, you start to learn a lot about yourself. Josh and I were saying, even for a lot of people, it's ego. Like, even just a lot of guys, they have a very hard time going to someone, going to a specialist, taking that time and saying, hey, I'm struggling with this. I need a little bit of help. For some people, it may be a financial viewpoint, but when you sit down and you think, holy, this is just going to cause me so much more money in the future, I've got to figure this out now. It makes the answer obvious. Like, I've got to deal with this now. For some people, it may be time as well. And even I said to my friend, I said, hey, listen, dude, like, if you don't make time for this now, you're going to have to make time for it in the future. Like, prioritize it now when you can. And it's just such a good reminder to sit down, whatever it is that's holding you back, whatever you're suffering with, whatever you can do to just live a more fit, healthy, and happy lifestyle. Just do it now. Don't put it off. And that's my little rant for today. And hopefully that helps you in one way or another.
Yeah, the best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is today. And the worst time is tomorrow, because it's so easy to say, once things settle down, I'm going to get into my fitness. I'm going to heal my knees. I'm going to address my back pain, my shoulder pain, whatever you're dealing with, your sleep. But the reality is oftentimes, I've mentioned, the obstacle is the way. What's in front of you is holding you back. And if you can go through that, it goes such a long way. And it's hard to have these realizations with yourself, like Kyle said, identifying what is holding you back and what are you doing about it. But if you're putting it off, time skips by quick. And then unfortunately, like an example with a knee, you can be made to be aware of it by needing a knee surgery or being in such pain you can't even walk. And like, consider the reality of losing mobility or losing your ability to use your arms how you want because your shoulder's so bad, or not being able to stand up straight without pain because your back's so bad. And like, to me, these are extra bonus motivators for the gym, and whatever motivates you goes a long way. I'm a big person who likes to avoid pain whenever possible. So to me, knowing I'm going to the gym and it's going to give me more longevity, more ability, more energy is so important and very motivating to me. Whereas I know if you're motivated purely by vanity and you're just like, I just want to look incredible and that's it, that's fine too. I've always said you can lean into that, but you just need to find what gets you in there. But you really just need to make sure to make that habit to get in there. And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm feeling you don't have a problem with like doing the basics, but oftentimes there's that one next thing, that thing that's just out of reach for you that helps go such a long way. And we'll be talking a lot about this on our Thursday podcast in terms of detail for training, for nutrition, as well as accountability and mindset. So that is a must listen episode. Make sure you tune in there. That'll be a really, really awesome one. Do you have any other thoughts before we jump into the client shoutout?
I think the big thing is just, as you were talking, I was like, how important it is to address things before it happens. Like, obviously when something happens, some sort of pain, some sort of issue, it's kind of like a sign saying, holy, you've got to fix this, you've got to slow down. But I find that a lot of times strength training, doing some mobility, taking care of your soft tissue work, like all that other stuff, you do end up pushing that for the long, like pushing that, so you don't happen to get injured and you don't happen to have any of these issues. And I think like I know so many people similar to just how we talk about procrastination who will just wait until that moment where like something happens. I know I've said this, so I don't want to spend too much time, but it's just a good reminder. I'm really passionate about this right now and hopefully it helps. And that's all I really have for this thought process of Monday episode.
All right. And who's the client shout out for this week?
So this week we have Seth, who absolutely crushed it. You can see once again, if you are watching on YouTube, you can see the photos, the start photo, the end photo. And if you aren't watching, you can also click down below, head to our Instagram, which you can see there with a nice little testimonial video, some tips, all that great stuff. But what I love about Seth's transformation is, well, there's two things. I love a million things, but the main two things that stand out is number one, he's a young gun. He's a young guy who said, I want to be able to succeed for the rest of my life. I want to learn new habits. I'm young, all this great stuff. And now that he's built up that amazing base of knowledge, of just even putting on muscle mass just as a younger dude, like it's so incredible when you're young how much that can set you up for success for the rest of your life. And a lot of people don't realize it, but yeah, we love working with young people. I mean, all ages, of course, but the ones that just start like right at the beginning and they can see those changes and will be able to consistently benefit from it. It's absolutely phenomenal. He was obviously in pretty good shape when he started, but just it looks incredible. He's going to do some shows, do all that great stuff. So amazing job there. But past that, like my favorite thing is just even the good to great transformations. We love helping, once again, anyone who's looking to lose 50 pounds, someone who's looking to just tighten up, do a bit of a body recomp, like as long as we get to see the results and just see like the person change, we're super happy. But I love seeing someone who comes in who's already in pretty good shape and just fully transform in so many different ways, mindset wise. And even just, he obviously had some good muscle mass and just put on even more muscle mass while losing fat. So right now we actually are looking for 3 people who are looking to go from good to great. If you're someone who says, I do okay in the gym, my workouts are all right, like everything's like pretty good, but you just want to go to great. Like you want to be exceptional. You want to stand out from everybody else. Like you want to reach that next level. And even a lot of people who are super complacent, like there's some people who message us who say, hey, I've been working out for 5 years. I'm not seeing the results anymore. We want to be able to help you just take things to the next level. So if you're doing okay, you're doing all right, you're getting by, and you're just like, I want to excel, send us that message on Instagram with the keyword good to great. Our Instagram is Colossus Fit, COLOSSUSFIT, and we can't wait to help 3 of you awesome individuals.
Yeah, don't miss out on this. This is a great chance to see what you're really made of, to break through that. And having a coach on your side is just amazing because you have someone to walk you through it, who can see around corners, who's going to hold you accountable to what you say on your ups and your downs, and it's just instrumental. So definitely take us up on that. We look forward to helping 3 of those of you who are serious about taking yourself to the next level. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into our mailbox with our first question, which is, how do you push through at the gym when you just want to leave? Some workouts, I find myself just getting by and wanting to leave. So I'll start by saying this is totally okay. I've been lifting like 10 years now, and I have periods where I love the gym. Like I don't want to leave there and I'm just in there forever. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait for tomorrow's workout already. And then I have days and weeks where I'm just like, I'm not feeling this. I'm sore. I don't want to be in here. It's not a good atmosphere. The vibe sucks, whatever. So it's totally okay. And I think a big thing is understand that's normal. I think some people have the understanding that it's just always super exciting. You're in love with the process all the time. But sometimes just like a workout, you got to get done. You have a busy day. It's the last thing, but you know it'll make you feel better. And for me, I think one of the best things you can do with this type of attitude is just know how good it is for you and use that as your time to rest and relax. I find those workouts are usually the case when you're distracted. So if you're on your phone a lot, you're looking at other things, you're leaning into things that kind of give you that quick boost of, I guess, just happiness, if you will, or distraction or whatever. And the truth is it's a double-edged sword because you just want to get to that. You want to distract yourself from the workout. But the more you fight that and lean into being present in the moment in the gym, so even on the episode for Thursday that you'll see coming out, I talk about how I really think the only 2 things you should be allowed to use in your phone in the gym are your notes app and your music app. Like past that, I think anything else is just going to pull you away from the workout. And instead, if you're thinking and you use that time to be alone in your thought, to take big breaths, to be at peace, to rest, can actually be a very meditative time. And you'll notice too, when you're not distracted by 50 other things, how much more intention and focus you can put into each set. And then when you're doing that and you start to have good sets and you're pushing yourself, the time goes faster than when you're just going through the motions. Going through the motions is the worst thing you can do. It's going to make it non enjoyable. You're going to know it's a bad workout. You're going to be distracted. You're going to want to look at your phone to pass the time. So instead, a big thing for me is just being present with that. Find music you like. Take big breaths, think. If you have something that comes to your mind, put it on your notepad, use that. Like, it can be such a powerful time in regards to that. And I find for me that really helps me on the days I don't want to do it. If it's a really bad day too and I just feel a little wiped, sometimes too I'll lean into a little extra pre. You don't want to make a habit of it. Today I felt really good and I'm like, I feel really nice. I'm excited to lift. So I did no pre-workout today. But then there's some days where I'm like, I just want to be fired up for the gym. I'll use the pre-workout. Maybe I'll sit in my car a little bit longer and listen to a really hype song right before I get super charged up and ready and excited for the gym. So that can be another amazing tip as well. But those are kind of my big ones. And it's just about getting it done, because the days you do it when you don't want to do it make you so much stronger for the days you're excited to do it. And even like having goals in there, strength goals, knowing what you're working for towards, it can make it a lot more fun as well. So those are my top tips.
That was so well said. Even just, watching those motivational videos. I know Josh was saying he watched a Tom Platz motivational video before leg day once, and, just seeing him crush it from that, I'm like, holy, this guy's on another level. But use those types of things. Like, you don't need to use it every single time. For those times where, like, we all know, like, the more that you get used to it, you kind of have that feeling of like what your mood's like, sometimes when it's depends on the weather, what's going on, like work wise, like we kind of have that feeling of like, just it may not be absolutely crazy like usual in terms of workouts, but you can use these things beforehand. Similar to what we were saying about prehab, like preventative rehab, like you can kind of get ahead of it and be like, I'm going to take that extra little, pre-workout, whatever it is. But past that, some of the other things, like when I get there, like there are times where I get into the gym and I'm like, the reason I wanted to talk about this one is this question, especially because I actually felt this exactly yesterday. I was by myself. It's different when I'm working out with Josh. We put in that work, but I kind of had other things on my mind. I was like, just ready to go. And there were a couple things that I was working through exactly that I wanted to share. And the first thing is just being so present with what exercise I'm doing. And I would tell myself just one exercise at a time. So when I was doing the seated row, instead of thinking about everything else that I had to do later in the workout, and I still got to do biceps, I got to do abs today, all these other things, is I was just like, okay, take it one exercise at a time, one rep at a time, one set at a time. And this was especially useful for me when I was getting ready for running stuff, like marathon training that I really didn't want to do, because I would focus on 1 mile at a time, 1 kilometer at a time, one step at a time. And I find that so many people think of like, you look through your workout and you see everything else you have to do, and you're like 1 to 2 movements in, it can be pretty daunting. So when you're present, even though your mind will probably be on other stuff, trying to pull yourself back, this is where meditation and present is really important. I think it definitely helps. And even yesterday, the one thing that helped me out was I said, you know what? I'm just going to get to 60 minutes. And I know that sounds like a lot for some people, but usually we do work out quite a bit longer. And I found that once I got to that mark, I wasn't really checking my watch each time. I wasn't like worried about that. I just said, just keep going, just keep going. And then when I got to that mark, I was loving the pump. I was like, man, I need to keep going. I add in some farmer's walks, some dead hangs, some more bicep curls, and momentum carries too. Like once you get in there, you may feel like, I don't want to do as much, and you don't feel as great. But the second you get moving, that's why we always say the 5-minute rule is super important. You get in there, you tell yourself, I'm going to do 5 minutes. If not, I'm out of there. If I'm not feeling good, and 99% of the time, you'll be like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to feel great. And a lot of it just does come down to mindset. But it is a normal feeling, like Josh said, and those are my personal viewpoints. I did want to stress, like he said, having those goals. Like I find when I was specifically training for powerlifting numbers, shredding, like whatever it is, I find a lot of times if you have nothing you're striving for, if you say, hey, Josh, what are you working on? He's like, I'm just here to because I have to be, like, it's going to be so much harder when he's like, hey, I'm going for this 400-pound squat. I'm looking to lose 15 pounds here. I want to do this. Like, it's so much more exciting when you get in there because you have those direct goals. And that's all I have.
Awesome. Now, next up, we have you spent some time talking about the craziness of the fitness industry. Do you feel it will ever change?
So I think this is more so relating to kind of like how we'd mentioned, like there's a lot of info out there, and like it's crazy. Just the information overload, I guess you can call it, is just when you go on Instagram, when you go on YouTube, there's a million different viewpoints. Someone will say, this is great, but then this is horrible. This is amazing. You should stop doing this. I talked about this a few weeks ago, and long story short, I don't believe that it'll ever come to, I guess, like a consensus of like, yeah, this is the one way to do it. Like there's people who are trying to do that. People try to pull out studies. There's awesome people day to day, Lane Norton, who are doing tests trying to prove that. But the issue is that online, anyone can say anything. Like you can see someone who just will make this random stuff up, and then depends on how they approach it, especially if they're super outgoing, especially if they, say these crazy bold claims, they get more and more attention. So I personally think that it's just, you have to just really choose the people you trust, the people that you believe in, and kind of run with that. But I honestly think for the rest of, social media and online stuff, that fitness is just going to keep, unfortunately, just so much more information. It's going to get even more confusing, even more wild. And it's just one of those things that even a lot of people have realized that in order to get like super popular out there, like those people with like millions of followers, they can't just say like the basic stuff that like they know works. They have to come up with this like crazy, unique, interesting thing that even if they don't believe it, if they say it, it'll bring them more attention and stuff like that. And that's just my viewpoint on that. And it's a random, funny little story there, but that's all I have there.
Yeah, we like these fun little questions. They're always nice to get something a little bit different and fresh. So if you have any questions to ask us about anything, please feel free to reach out. Even if you think we've asked it before, you're curious about how our opinion changes, or you want us to expand something like this, you can always submit a question on Instagram to @LossesFit. Just shoot us a DM, COLOSSUSFIT, and you can just say for Mailbox Monday, XYZ question, and then that way we can add it to the list, answer it here, which will be absolutely awesome. But yeah, I don't think it'll really change. I think most industries, like if there's a capacity to make money, to get notoriety, to get attention, people will always use it. And we as humans, we love what's sensationalized. Like it's way more exciting. Even someone sent me a video of like this guy doing like pull-ups with leg raises with a barbell on his feet, doing curls with it. And it's like so obviously a fake barbell, but he's like, this is so crazy. And I'm like, oh yes, yeah, sure. Like to me, it just looks like comical and like the waste of space and resource. Like it just seems so silly, but what's sensational is what's fun. It's cool. We don't like bland. We don't like boring. It's not as exciting. And our message isn't as exciting of being consistent, do the hard work, have a healthy, sustainable approach, but it's the truth. And I think at the end of the day, there will always be a big part of people who really want to hear just a raw truth as well. But I do think there will always be craziness in the fitness industry, and it will always add a lot of entertainment at least. And I think even for us, like a reason we made this podcast is to really help people understand why nonsense is nonsense in regards to fitness stuff. So at least you can be aware of what's the truth, where you should put your effort, your focus, and you can avoid wasting time, energy, or money on things that don't work.
And what's really interesting is like, even when you look at it, there's so much money within the fitness industry. Like it's well over $100 billion industry. At least that's what online says. Don't quote me on that. But and like when I heard someone talking recently about how the price, it's worth so much, yet people are suffering more than ever. And like even just the rates, the obesity rates, the people that just aren't feeling their best, like it continues to go up. But meanwhile, so much money is being spent. And a lot of it I'd contribute to the fact that there's just so much stuff out there where people spend so much money on these drinks that promise you this crazy stuff, on all these supplements and all these different approaches that just aren't sustainable, that just don't work. And like, I don't, once again, see that getting any better, but it's one of those things you just have to kind of work through the noise. And, it's like Josh said, some of it's entertainment. Like you see all these Instagram things where it's like, you can kind of laugh at some of these things, but it's one of those things. I just don't believe it's going to improve, but we can only do our part. Like once again, we've been doing 2 episodes every single week for the last like probably 4 years now. We post on Instagram daily. We do some YouTube stuff as much as we can. And above all, just we help our clients. Like that's our biggest mission is like, yeah, we may not have as big of an impact from these people who say you shouldn't be having veggies, but then they have millions of followers and everyone loves the cult and will comment and engage in stuff. But we help our people one-on-one, which we absolutely love. And that's why if you are looking to get into an incredible community, someone who can help you directly, be there for you, answer any questions, bust any myths, we actually save a lot of people money too, which is awesome. Like when our clients send us messages, even the other day, one of our new awesome clients was asking about EAAs and all these other things, and we're like, dude, like just eat regular food. You'll be good to go. Josh had some great answers and feedback there. And we're like, hey, we just saved him a couple $100 there. So yeah, we just try to keep it real. And that's all I wanted to share for that amazing question.
All right, next up we have, I work really hard for a great body, and there are times I find myself nervous to take off my clothing. I believe people online call this body dysmorphia. Do you have any experience or advice with this?
Another amazing question. And honestly, it is much more popular and it happens a lot more than people think. Like you see specific bodybuilders, you see people who are heavily into fitness and you think they are so happy. Like that is a great physique. But a lot of people do struggle. And once again, you may not see it from the outside. A lot of people aren't posting about it as well. You just see the great physiques. But the main thing, like in terms of tips that I want to give you, especially from a personal experience, like I definitely felt like I used to struggle with this, especially as a beginner. I find a lot of people struggle because you're always comparing yourself to that other person. And it's one of those things that it's challenging because you always want to be better. You always want to be improving. And a lot of times people are never happy with where they're at because they're comparing of what they think they should be looking like or what they could be or what someone else is looking like. And my main thing is to not have all your eggs in one basket, to have other things that you're focusing on. If your entire identity and that's all you're focused on is just looks and looks alone, you're never going to be happy. Of course, it is good to just always want to strive to be better. You know, I'm someone who always believes if you're not growing, you're dying. Like you always have to be focused on that. But I've learned through fitness that you really have to have these other things between strength training goals, between, just cardio goals, like how you're actually feeling day to day. Like there's so much more than just that. But I do remember, like I used to struggle to even go into the gym without a pump cover, like, those things where everyone wears sweaters and stuff like that. Cause I was like, I don't have a pump. Like I feel like I'm so skinny. I don't want anyone to see me without just wearing a sweater. And it was tough because I would have that mindset and people would be like, man, you're big, you're jacked. Like, especially once again, this was in the beginning stages, like a few years in, I was like, no, like I can always be better. So I think a lot of it just comes down to mindset, appreciating what your body can do, having those other things to focus on. And that's just my mindset, but I'm sure Josh has a bunch of things he wants to talk about as well.
Yeah, there's a meme I really like. It's like the day you start lifting is the day you're forever small. And I started as someone who was skinny too, and I got behind that. But I can't say I've ever had too much of an issue with it. I think I have the advantage of being a bigger person, so it kind of works to my benefit. But I do find like there are moments where you'll look at yourself and go, oh, I don't look as good as I can. But the more you do it too, the more level-headed you become to it. You understand how pumps work. You understand how like spillage works if you have a big day of eating. You understand bloating, like all these different things and how vastly different your body can look day to day. I love it because I have a photo on my Instagram of me like flexing when I was really, really shredded and like I look phenomenal, like not even tooting my own horn. It looks really good. But I took a photo like a couple days before because I was really lean and I just looked so skinny and I look like absolute trash. But it's so funny because the two photos are so close in timing, except the one, like I got a tan, I had some more carbs in me, and I was deep in a shred, and I had perfect posing, perfect lighting, I was pumped up, and like you really just understand the effects of the two, and it kind of makes you realize like it's not worth looking on it. And I think it's hard because I'd rather be a person who looks moderately good, but just has the confidence to look how I want to look, wear what I want to wear, take my shirt off, than be that person who looks phenomenal and is so scared and insecure and constantly in their mind about it. And I think that's a good reminder to have to try and overcome those fears if you have them. And I know sometimes it's easier said than done, but even in terms of like the gym trend thing, like I just can't get behind the super baggy shirts. I don't understand it at all, and I refuse. Like I'm not going along with it because I work hard. Like I like wearing like shirts that make me look better, like the Gymshark shirts, or if you're watching on YouTube, like this Lululemon polo is sick because like it's like athletic wear, but it looks like a polo, looks nice and presentable. But you can even see like these lines here will make my shoulder look bigger, my chest look bigger. Like to me, I work hard to look good to show it. And that's why I enjoy personally doing that. And that's just my train of thought. And like, I like being able to take off my shirt. And of course I could always look better. I could always look worse. But like, if you think you're going to walk around looking picture perfect all the time at any point in your life, it's never going to happen. There's always going to be something you think, I could be leaner, I could be more muscular. And then the second you're lean, you're going to want more muscle. When you have a lot of muscle, you're going to wish you were leaner. So it's just better if you can get out of your head with it, be confident, and especially if you know you're progressing, like take pride in that, because you're just going to constantly get better and better and better and have more excitement to the journey yourself. And I think that's amazing too. And we all have weak spots and weaknesses and things we might not like about ourselves that take a long time to change, but that's what makes you you. And I think it's better if you lean into it. And that's my mindset to it. And I think it's a very freeing mindset. And it's something I push with a lot of people. And just by having a logical view towards thing, I mentioned before, weight. If you're a 110-pound man, but you look massive, you look good, who cares that you're 110 pounds? Like, some people get so caught up on that, but no one's going to put you on the scale. If you're a taller woman who looks really amazing and you have amazing muscularity and curvature and you just look phenomenal, but you're 200 plus pounds, it's probably just because you're tall or your bone density. Like, no one cares about the actual number. It's more just about how you look, how you feel. Are you living in that alignment, like I said, with your goals and where you want to be? And to me, you'll find a lot of solace in that.
Honestly, that was incredible. And even just thinking of how far you've come, like, it's such a great reminder. And I do know a lot of people that struggle from this. And even, like, I will say one other example. I remember back when I was getting ready for a physique show with Josh, maybe 7 years ago. And it was tough because, like, I find those times were the times where you feel really just like you're always getting judged too. Like, even just the judges be like, hey, you can bring up your chest. Like, there's always this feedback, always this criticism, the posing coach, this and that. But I remember training so hard and I would look great shirtless and then with like a tank top. But then the second I would put on like a t-shirt, I would look like I've never lifted and I've been training so hard. And I remember a guy at school who said to me, hey, like, you got kind of skinny. Like, he didn't mean it in a bad way. And I started second guessing everything. And like, I've had those moments, right? And it's one of those things where, like, if your entire identity and like you let other people, even like everyone will have these little comments that they would say here and there, whether it's a family member or friends, like, just be happy with where you're at, always be looking to improve and just feel, just better in your own skin. But like, there's nothing more freeing than being able to say, I'm happy with where I'm at. My confidence is high and I've been putting in work and I'm just going to get better, versus someone who may even still be in shape who are just like, no, there's no way. Like, I don't look like that person online. You're comparing yourself to these people who are taking performance enhancing drugs or who have all these filters and stuff like that you see. And it's such a never ending process. And I really wanted to share this for anyone who's been putting in that work that feels like they're just not far enough, that just they don't feel confident to wear a bathing suit or whatever it is. And even through our coaching process, we help a lot of people with this type of stuff as well, just working through those mindset barriers and those mental barriers as well. And we can help every single person just feel their absolute best in their own skin. And we'd love to help 3 of you awesome people, like I said, go from good to great.
Yeah, so if you want to take advantage of that promo, you can go ahead and DM us good to great on Instagram. That is the keyword to get access to the special promo. Our Instagram is @ColossusFit. ColossusFit. Definitely be sure to hit us up there. Lots of great content for you to take in and have on top of this. And we just want to thank all of you for listening today. It's an amazing episode, and we hope you have a great week, great day, great whatever's in front of you, great workout. Get out there and crush it. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.